William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I welcome you to another Two Hats special of community events. Let's look in and see what's really happening.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, can I get your attention? We're going to move on with our program. First, though, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't thank the group that just played. Free of charge because it, good stuff? Yes. Revolution 9. So thanks, guys, very much for being here. Well, as I said earlier tonight, we kick off our inaugural Promise House Sleepout, a night under the stars where Dallas, some of the top business leaders and community leaders pledged to raise money for Promise House and Sleep Outside to raise awareness and funds for homeless, abused, and runaway youth. And tonight you will learn some of the issues that homeless youth face and what the community can do to maybe put an end to this crisis. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but boy, we certainly need to go in a different direction than we are right now. And there is no way that this sleep out can replicate the homelessness and the helplessness and the hopelessness. I mean, think about this. 1,264 homeless youth on the streets of Dallas experience this every single night. So as you layer there tonight and say, gee, it's a little chilly or I'm kind of hungry or whatever, think about it. How'd you like to do this year-round, every single night? Merely provides a greater understanding of the harsh realities that homeless youth face every day. And in conjunction with National Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week and National Runaway Prevention Month, A Night Under the Stars aims to educate the community about youth experiencing homelessness, what it's all about, and what it's like to have to deal with this every single day. So we're here to hopefully inspire change and maybe shine a light on youth homelessness. I for the life of me, I remember going into a 7-Eleven about 3 months ago, and this guy came up to me, and he had a little boy with him. The little boy was about 9 or 10, and he looked at me and he said, "Oh, Mr." He recognized me from television, and he said, "Oh, Mr. Murray, do you remember me?" And I said, "No, sir, I'm sorry, I didn't." And I thought he was going to ask me for money or something, and so I wanted to be polite, but I said, no, I don't. He said, "You don't remember me?" And I said, "No, I don't." And he said, "I'm the one that you met about 6 or 7 years ago. I was standing outside this 7-Eleven right here, and you said, I wanted some help, and you said, well, I'd be happy to help you anyway, but I normally don't give people money, but I'd be happy to hear your story." So I sat there with him for probably 20 minutes. This is like 7 or 8 years ago. And he obviously was someone that was out in the streets. And he told me about his son was out on the streets too, but his son wasn't with him. And I said to him, "Well, what are you going to do?" He said, I just need a chance. I just need to get an opportunity." So we went into the 7-Eleven, and I said, "If you don't buy beer, I'll buy you whatever you want to eat. If you don't buy any alcohol, I'll buy you what you want." And he said, "Okay." And I said, "Someday maybe you could get a job at a place like this." Well, I don't know where he went. I'm not taking credit for anything. I'm just telling you, the man that came back, and as I walked into the 7-Eleven, he said, "Hey, Mr. Murray, how are you?" It's the guy that was out on the street 7, 8 years ago. And this was his son that he had with him, that had been out on the street with him. The man was now behind the counter as a cashier at the 7-Eleven. The same 7-Eleven store that I walked into. I don't know how many years ago it was, 8, 9 years ago. You never know. You just never know. So your presence here tonight speaks volumes. It really does. Now, I'm about to introduce to you the gentleman that had this idea. He was telling me earlier tonight that it's something that they'd done in Houston, and he said, "You know what, we need to do this up here. Promise House needs to be a part of this great mission." And so he's not only the man that brought us all together for this tonight, but he's also a member of the board of Promise House. So I'd say he's a pretty good guy. First time I ever met him, but he's one of my new best friends. So I want you to put your hands together for our friend, Mr. Tim Fisher. Come on up, Tim.
Thank you, Scott. So let's put our hands together for Scott Murray. For those of you that don't know, Scott's kind of a legend in the philanthropic world around DFW. He received a big award last week at a function that we attended, and it means a lot to us, Scott, that you're here, so thanks very much. Obviously, I've got a bunch of people I want to thank. Obviously, an event like this doesn't happen without a bunch of people really coming together. Let me thank the corporate sponsors first. You see signs around 7-Eleven. Really stepped forward. They not only gave money, but they donated breakfast and coffee. Flagstar Bank, which is the bank that I work for, it's actually based in Michigan. Grand Bank of Texas donated, as well as donated the tent. Hodges Capital Management, Haynes and Boone, Monk Wilson and Mandela, Plains Capital Bank, Premier Transportation, my good friend Eric Devlin, Thackeray Partners, and again, thanks to Blue Mesa, Campese's, Coca-Cola, and 7-Eleven. So a lot of people have been asking me how this came together, and it wasn't really my idea, to be honest with you. I think some of you even said that you saw today that Covenant House, which is a national organization, is having their sleep out as well, and I used to serve on their board when we lived in Houston, and this is actually my 4th year to sleep out, and last year I actually flew down to Houston just to do the sleep out. And I remember thinking to myself, that's kind of crazy. I live in Dallas, but I'm flying down to Houston to sleep out, and last year it rained the whole night, and then I really felt stupid. So I remember thinking to myself, and in fact I even told some of my friends, this is the last year I'm sleeping out in Houston. If I sleep out again, I'm going to do it in Dallas. So I came back to Dallas last year and started kind of looking around and realized there wasn't a Covenant House chapter here, and there wasn't anybody who was doing this sleep out. So a few months went by, and I was actually attending the Stew Pot luncheon, the Soups On luncheon in downtown Dallas, and I got reacquainted with an old friend, Jennifer Clifford, with Communities Foundation of Texas, and she suggested that I come down and meet with the folks here at Promise House. And this is where I think there was a little bit of divine intervention. I came down and had lunch with Ashley Lind and Judy Wright, and this was probably about March of this year. And we went to lunch together, and I kind of told them a little bit about the sleep out. And Ashley was kind of giving me a little bit of a weird look, and she said, you know, Tim, it's really, really kind of weird, you know, this idea that you've thrown out there. And I said, why is that, Ashley? She said, well, we were just having a meeting a couple days ago with the staff, and I said, one of her big initiatives after she came to Promise House in February was that she wanted a fundraising event that was more mission driven. So when I threw out the idea of the sleep out, she was all in. And that was in March. The only problem was they had their other big fundraiser, which is the golf tournament, was in May, and they were, any of you have ever tried to put together a golf tournament, it's a lot of work, and they had to really get ready for the golf tournament in May, which was right around Memorial Day, if I recall. So that means we didn't really get started on this until probably early June. And so a lot of work went into pulling this together in a short period of time. So let me just thank a couple people. Everybody on the Promise House staff is wearing the orange t-shirts. So a big thanks to all of you, but in particular, Jenny Martin. Jenny, are you in the back still? Jenny's standing up. She's kind of the one who kind of put together all the logistics behind the event. And then Judy Wright, I think Judy had to run to another event she was committed to tonight. She'll be back here later. But she and her team have just done an amazing job kind of putting this all together. And I remember the day that I pulled up in front of the Promise House building before we even had talked about the sleep out. And I remember looking over at this parking lot thinking, that is a perfect place to do this sleep out. And then this park and how they put it all together, it really worked out great. So again, thank you so much to you guys for helping put it together. And lastly, but certainly not least, if you're sleeping tonight, would you please stand up? Big hand for the sleepers if you would, please. So obviously, no matter how good the idea, no matter how good the location. It doesn't happen if people don't volunteer and step up and and commit to do this. And we set a goal of $75,000 for our first year, and we surpassed that this week. In fact, today we just passed 80,000. So incredible job, incredible job. And I did a rough calculation. It's somewhere around $120 a night to put up one child in the shelter for a night. So to Scott's point, that means somewhere around 675 kids don't have to sleep out because you guys are doing it tonight. So thank you. And lastly, I'll just say I hope that it's as rewarding for you as it was, or as it has been for me these past 4 years. And I also hope that you have a great time and you'll come back and do it again next year. So let me turn it back over to Scott. Thank you.
I know we're shaking hands and doing all kinds of things and clapping for people, but let's put our hands together one more time for Tim. Great idea, Tim. Thank you so much. Well, he made note of Ashley. She's the CEO. She's here 24/7, 365. You know what that means. This is her life. Thankfully, the CEO of Promise House, Ashley Lynn. Come on up, Ashley.
First, let me just say thank you to everyone who is here tonight. Thank you to each one of you who is sleeping tonight. You all are braving some cold weather. It feels a little chilly. I think it's going to get a little chillier, but my main objective is to help people really understand what it's like in the life of one of our children. I've prepared a little thought for you all this evening. As I was driving here in my car with my daughter, who's also a sleeper, I thought, how fortunate that I can drive here in my car. And after I piled my plate fairly high with yummy Blue Mesa, I thought, how fortunate that I have such a nice meal. How fortunate that I get to spend all of this time with people that I love being with, and I get to enjoy a laugh. If you all could just think of the things that you find to be the most important to you. I'm going to give you just a second to call to mind 5 things that you think are the most important to you. To me, my family, my friends, my home, my surroundings, my hobbies, right? My faith. Those are all things that I immediately think of. Yet, what you don't think of too often is the notion that all of those things could be gone in an instant. And you think your family is your rock. Your faith is your rock. There are lots of things that you have in your life to insulate you from what happens in today's world. And unfortunately, these children no longer can rely on a family member to say, come on, come over to my house. I'll keep you warm tonight. I'll make dinner for you. Are you feeling bad? Some of these children have been abandoned, kicked out, have been abused. That's the price they pay for having a place to sleep, much less a loving family. What about their friends? Well, that's hard to stay in touch with friends. Any of you have changed schools mid-semester or mid-year, you know, well, they were your friends, but now you're in a different place and it's really hard to keep up with them. Imagine not having a cell phone. Imagine not having a place to call your home that they could come visit you because they know you live there. No, so your friends are gone too. What about your faith? Well, that church you were going to, where the preacher, he knew that you needed help. He knew that he would keep his eye on you. Now it's really far away from where you are. How do you get there? How do you even get there to say, help me please? I know you. Maybe you go to another church and they wonder, wow, who's that person? Their clothes are dirty, their hair may not be as kept. And so it really brings reality to the circumstance. It really makes you know that these children have no one and nothing. And I invite you tonight to really embrace this experience. It'll be an experience like you've never let into your heart before. I think most of us try to keep out those painful ideas of what someone might be living through. You kind of hear it on the surface, or maybe you flip through on the TV and the news because you just can't hear that. Not tonight. Not tonight. Tonight is the night that we honor what they have done, what they have gone through, and the fact that they have found Promise House and hopefully found our welcoming arms to put them right back on their feet, to get them stable, to be the people who love and care about them, the only ones that may love and care about them.
Downstairs because we have some kids that are rather 80 that has come back over their family visit and kind of cut short. So, but we can go around to the general, you can see the cafeteria, there's some shelter upstairs, they kind of explore things like that. Okay.
Anything you want to show me, just be verbose and hope to keep it. Remember, you might be talking to 100,000 people.
Awesome, thank you.
Did I make you nervous? I'm sorry.
Yeah, like,
So, we got these here, day rooms here?
These are media rooms, day areas, they're double as family visits, and then just recreational purposes.
Sounds good. Very nice looking.
Cafeteria area.
The most important thing about any place is weed.
Since we're on the supply, we serve lots and lots of plants. Our few people over the course of the year, so our food budget is pretty large, I should say. Our kitchen staff is amazing. She makes great meals for us. Our volunteers bring tons of meals for us. And then sometimes we have like our volunteers taking our kids out tonight. They're going to go play, or they were playing volleyball, going to
Oh, I was wondering where you got all the babysitters from. Everywhere.
Are you okay with sitters?
Sure. Wouldn't yeah. As long as they're not super steep ones.
Let's take the elevator just in case.
All right.
I'm usually winded at the top anyway, and I'm tired already.
Yeah, well, let's keep it fresh.
Yeah. Sure.
Thank you.
Of course.
Appreciate it. Wow.
Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Let's take you upstairs.
Actually keep the elevator secure and all that?
Yes, anywhere where we have access to kids, we'll have a secure access point. The little black box, you need a business card, or a little ID card to get through. Don't worry about that.
Have you ridden some of the darn elevators?
I have not.
Well, I have.
Ah, okay.
Don't put your hand in the way and try and stop them.
Yeah, okay, good to know. Second floor Promise House. You can see we've got our classrooms up here. We are part of the ISD.
Wonderful. I think it's surpassed the ISD. I was in one of their classrooms last Saturday.
You were in the classrooms on Saturday?
Yeah, I was part of TOPS. And they were trying to put parents and teachers and everything else together.
Good stuff. All right, library.
Okay. Is the official library?
Yes, and it's the library definitely in quotes. I mean, if a kid wants a book, they can get a book.
Wow.
We are building up an electronic library using Kindles and such. So that's always a good thing if you want to know like Amazon or something like that.
Interesting. I'll make sure you say that loud because we want to get lots of Amazon gift cards to
Promise House.
Promise House. Definitely.
Ways to get it.
Yeah, get all those links in there you can. Get them up.
Around the side.
Okay.
Slightly worry area, mostly office space for case managers, program managers. Well, they're very exciting people. So, you like when there's a door closed. Second part of our shelter.
Wow.
Additional 10 beds up here, usually for the kids. So again, small kitchenette over there.
Yeah, that's
other
wonderful,
area
yeah.
over there.
You use that area to teach them to cook or something like that.
Very basic. It's more quick and easy meals. Probably up here. And in this population, there's a lot more observation. We're hoping to reunite them with family or probably get them into a long-term situation where they would learn more about those skills. So,
Wonderful.
so small lounge area again right here.
And know where all the switches are at.
Yeah. Bedding area. Doesn't look too impressive right now.
Well,
The beds are on the way. So.
Well, that's the way it is. Is this part of that emergency that they got?
This is part of the emergency shelter. So
Or
this
emergency
is serving
shelter.
ages 6 to 16.
Okay. Because they got all sorts of remote controls there for something.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Fun activities and such. So.
Okay.
Maybe more spaces I can show you.
Nice wall right there.
Dining area.
Okay. That's where this is floor section here.
So if you just fill up meals or anything like that, if anybody's just having behavioral issues, or if we just have a number of kids and then again the kids and there's therapy room.
Okay. I thought it was more like Whitney once a minute I saw the guitar there.
That could be part of therapy. Maybe they don't do well, sort themselves just talking during therapy, but maybe artistically might be easier.
Wonderful. Different ideas.
Our multi-purpose room.
Uh-huh.
The name suggests we use it for just about everything. It's very well loved. We group therapy, community events, Black History Month celebration, I didn't mention that. And then of course the giant TV square for the next Dance Dance Revolution Fund.
Fantastic.
And then one more stop, and I think that's
That's about it. What's wonderful. That's
as far as
wonderful.
what we can see tonight. It's all right.
Uh-huh.
We have other programs, but they're lived in right now. So
Yeah, it was my fault for not getting going early enough.
sorry we couldn't.
Well,
The tours planned quite a little.
I thought there might be an announcement. That's what I was more keyed out for.
Inside good store. So essentially new donations for our kids to get them all the things they need, whether it's undergarments, toiletries, sometimes birthday gifts, things like that.
Wonderful. Coats, especially coming up in the weather. That is great. Absolutely great.
And I think that's about it.
All right.
Did you have any questions about any of the spaces you saw tonight or anything like that?
No, not that I know of. We just absorbed all in.
Awesome. If you have any other questions, please feel free to shoot Jessica an email.
Okay.
She'll be glad to answer anything you got.
Jessica's email, what she want public? So someone who sees the video and looks at the description could write her?
I think she could put it as just like marketing at promisehouse.org. That would be a good email to put down for it. Or just refer them back to our website. It would be very helpful for as well.
Okay. Sounds good. That sounds lost already.
And it's just a giant rectangle.
Yeah. I get lost easier than most people can on purpose.
Pardon?
I get lost easier than most people can on purpose.
Yeah, there you go.
That's about it. Policy is legal, no matter what. I'll blank this all out, but I was literally bullied off an event once.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and, well, that's the way it was, the first time I ever had it happen. And me keeping the camera going, identified, they thought because they came right in front of me, and leave, and I still don't know what it was all about that. But I do know 3 agencies involved have vanished from Facebook.
Goodness. I'm so sorry about that. We hope you had a good time at our event tonight, though, sir.
Well, hers is one of my favorite groups. I try and one neighbor of mine is we get all these loose dogs adopted.
Oh, awesome.
And this is one of these groups that, you know, that work with dogs, get them adopted, show that like pit bulls and other breeds are really dogs, not weapons. And all of a sudden they have this flip on me. I really didn't know how to handle it. Well, thank you very much for including.
No, thank you so much.
And your name was Zach?
Zach, yes, sir.
Okay, I did hear right. Okay, thank you very much, Zach.
Thank you.
All right, we'll just shut this thing.
This is William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please leave comments below, or like, follow, or subscribe to us and get notices of all our videos. We love it, even when you call.